welcome to Should I Live There? And today we have Vondell Richmond. He's going to be explaining to us a little bit more about the Clarksville, Tennessee area and everything Clarksville, Tennessee, the pros and cons and everything. So Vondell, thank you so much for being with us today.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it. Awesome.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So I understand you are in the Clarksville area. How long have you been in that area for?
Yeah, so Clarksville, I just want to say this. I have a friend who teases me, Brian, so I want to say this, but Clarksville was voted Money Magazine's best place to live in 2019. And
Okay.
it's so awesome here. I had to live here twice. So currently I am here since 2016, December of 16. Prior to that, my stepfather got stationed here with the military. And that was back in 89, 90-ish. Yeah, because I graduated high school in 92. So I was here from 92 till about 95. And then I left for 20 something years. And then I came back because it was so awesome here.
Called you back. Okay. That's so cool. That's so cool.
So it's a place so awesome, you got to live here twice.
Yeah. And you've lived in it. What are some other places you've lived?
I was born in Oklahoma, down in Guthrie, Oklahoma. Red dirt roads, and then that's where my father's from. And then my mother is from Mobile, Alabama. So once they divorced, we moved to Mobile. So I grew up there. So I tell people I was reared in Mobile. And then mom married a soldier, moved to Germany, did 3 years in Germany, learned the language. And then my stepdad's last duty station was here at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, which is a little bitty trivia, which is the Army base that is right here. And that's what we're neighbors with Fort Campbell, Kentucky. So it's Fort Campbell, Kentucky and Clarksville. So that we're literally on the border, and literally a soldier that lives in the barracks on post. This is a fun fact, could literally have one half of their house in Tennessee and the other half of their house in Kentucky.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, so let's dive into the area a little bit. So let's just talk about the culture right away. So
Sure.
if you kind of had to describe, Tennessee and specifically Clarksville, how would you kind of sum it up?
Sure. So Tennessee, I think we're becoming a melting pot. Typically when people think Tennessee, they think, good old country music. They think good old Southern food, the bread pudding, the banana pudding, the sweet lemonade, which is different from Georgia lemonade, and tea, sweet tea, and catfish Fridays, and just dinner time with family. And so that's typically what comes to mind. And I would say all of that is true. Kentucky's known for bluegrass, but we're known for Rocky Top, Tennessee, the Smoky Mountains. So we're known for Smoky Mountains. We're known for, just kind of being laid back. The South, I love the South, different from the East Coast or other coasts, because we're just sort of laid back, very hospitable. But also very, very passionate about football and everything sports. We're in the Bible Belt, of course, so you can't escape a great conversation around faith, one's faith and spirituality, and just family first, and of course the military. So if I had to describe Clarksville, I would say we're a mix of 5 communities. We're a mix of what founded Clarksville, which was our tobacco farmers. So we have a good mix of our agriculture here, and with our farming community, we have a growing number of active duty and retired military members here, service members. The Army, like I said, with the 101st Airborne being right here in our backyard. We have about 11,000 at our college here. I think Austin P just hit that milestone of 11,000 enrolled. So we're excited about that. Then you have your professionals, your attorneys, your doctors, lawyers, that sort of thing. And then I like to think we have our blue collar workers, which is slowly turning more into more white collar jobs, which is what we're trying to attract here. And then last but not least, we're looking to attract, like everyone else, our next gen millennials. So yeah, those are, I guess, 5 or 6 groups that make up what I call Clarksville.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. It's a really good mix of, people from different backgrounds. So that's always good for culture. I think it's a, melting pot.
And what I noticed, Brian, is there's native Clarksville, people who grew up here, born and raised. They love it here. They're loyal. And then on the back end of that, there's sometimes a little rift between the people who feel like, hey, this is home and you can't change it. And then those that are moving in, coming from different areas, which is, of course, what makes a place homogenous. But that's what I love. People like me who the military brought us here. We consider this home now. We come to know and love it. But, don't be surprised if you see a conversation between those two demographics, saying, hey, foreigner, stay away. And, other people saying, no, come here. We're big melting pot. So I think everybody's good and loves growth, except when it comes to building and things in our own backyard. So, yeah.
Yes, that is very true.
Yeah.
Funny fact. We read an article about how in California, we all agree that we should have affordable housing, but just not in my backyard. So
exactly, everybody wants affordable housing as long as it's not in my not near my not near my house.
yeah. over there. So
over there. Put it in his backyard, her backyard.
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation. So there is always that like tug of war between
And fun fact. Ironically enough, there's a ton of Californians moving here. Matter of fact, I saw the funniest Facebook comment the other day. I don't know what's going on, but I've talked to other realtors. A friend of mine called me from her son's friend's birthday party. And she was like, oh my gosh, I met this realtor and she wanted your number. And the realtor's hopping on the phone. She's a California realtor. And she's like, oh my gosh, I need your contact. Like all of my clients, she said, are moving between Texas and Tennessee. And I was just like, interesting. And I saw the comment on Facebook that said, I bet you those local officials, elected officials are lining their pockets deep with all this money that the California investors are with. I was like, people think we're, elected officials are in cahoots with like California investors. So I thought it was funny. I'm like, no, it probably has to do with the cost of living and the cheap houses that you can get from, the budget that if you have a California home compared to a home here.
Right.
I mean, you could buy 4 homes for the price of 1 in California. So yeah, that's what's drawing everybody here.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, it seems like, and as you're kind of describing, the culture seems, if that's something you're kind of drawn to. So then like that's, I think culture's super, super big. Let's talk about the weather though. So the weather in Tennessee.
I mean, it's pretty mild here. Now, if you're not used to the summer heat, we're not quite Florida, but I think this weekend, it was my birthday, so I got a chance to get out. It was like 91 yesterday. I think there was a high of 91. Today it's pretty a little bit overcast. We're expecting some showers here, but it's like a mild, I would say 70, if not 60 here. Let me see what's today's weather like. Let's see if I was right. Okay. Oh, 82. Wow, it doesn't feel like it. It's a slightly overcast 82. Partly cloudy is what the weather app says here today. But wow, I wouldn't have thought it was 82. Usually 82 is way hotter here.
So like, what are your summers like?
So summers here, I would say that 80 is pretty standard. Maybe 90. I think the hottest I've seen it get here is mid to late 90s. I don't think it ever gets up to high 90s or 100. I think the highest I've probably seen it in the last few years are like a 96. And what that feels like, it's not a humid 96, probably like you would imagine. Like it's not a dry 96. It's like just a sunny, bright. You'll sweat, but it's durable, I would say. Yeah. And then winters, it's so funny. So having lived on the East Coast where there's actual snow, it's funny having had that lens to come back to the South and see everybody freak out. So the winters are, in my opinion, and this is someone who's lived on the East Coast for 10 plus years, they're very mild to non-existent. To get a snow here is a surprise. Like all the kids get excited. So if you've got young ones who want a white Christmas, you might get one, but it's probably going to be like a half inch.
Okay.
But these guys think it's like, they think it's the snow apocalypse. All the stores start closing down, oh, no school tomorrow. It's like, what? Like it's going to melt in like an hour. But yeah, they get pretty excited to watch native Tennesseans. They get really, really excited. I think the most snow I've seen here since I've moved back was about 2.5, 2 inches. That's like a blizzard to them.
That's a blizzard to me too.
Being from California, it's a snow apocalypse to you guys.
Yeah, no, that's great. I could do that. I could handle that.
Yeah. Anybody can handle that.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't like the snow, like, it's doable.
Come on. Yeah, it's user friendly. Yeah. And those who are used to snow, you'd laugh. Ice is what you have to be careful of, or black ice, raining, then freezing overnight. That's the biggest thing we have to contend with here on our roads. They barely salt the roads, but they take care of it pretty fast. Our street department's really good. They get out and handle it, and then people are back out. But the city pretty much slows down, stops, things shut down to err on the side of safety because drivers and people aren't used to commuting in the snow or ice. And so, yeah, they pretty much shut things down for a few days and then things get back to normal.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, let's go into things to do in kind of Clarksville and Tennessee.
Absolutely. So Tennessee as a whole, I love to brag. We're home of the Tennessee Titans. I think they had a pretty good year. Didn't make it all to the final number there, but the dance. But we overall, do really well. So home of Big Ten, UT football, Big Orange, go Orange. So we have a number of sports fans, avid sports fans here with the Titan Stadium. I think it was I get confused, so help me, Brian, but I think it was 2020 or 2021, the Super Bowl draft happened here in Nashville. And so for those who don't know, we're about a 40-mile run between Clarksville, Tennessee and Nashville. So Nashville is our big city, and we're about 40 miles. So it takes about an hour, if you're driving it up 24, it's like a, two lane up and back. And so it's about exactly 40 miles from here to greater Nashville. And so that's home of Tennessee football, and of course you got Tennessee whiskey that's here, but yeah, things to do. So in Nashville, let's go Nashville and then we'll kind of come back this way. But well, let's go big picture. So Tennessee as a whole, if you really want to come, we have some great historical museums. We've got the Civil Rights Museum in Memphis, which is 3 hours from Clarksville. So that's a great trip for the kids, very educational. It's literally the Lorraine Motel where Dr. King was unfortunately assassinated. It's kind of eerie because everything has been left. I don't know if they, put things, but I'm sure they preserve it, but they have like from down to the cigarette, like hanging on the ashtray of him and some other leaders that were in the room. And then, across the street, there's like a tour that shows you this is the street where, was it John Wilkes Booth is, I think I'm getting Abraham Lincoln and Dr. King. Unfortunately, was it Harvey? Anyway, I'm getting my assassins mixed up.
That's okay. Yeah, the person who assassinated.
Yeah, the person who assassinated him across the street. There's like a tour that'll take you from the top of his room in the hotel out on the balcony. You can still see the car downstairs, and then across the street they show you like the proximity. So you stand from that perspective and see back over, and so it's a great place to venture out with family. A great place to take in some different cultures, some African American history, our history as America. The sanitation strike stuff is downstairs in that museum. So that's that. Then of course, if you go to Memphis and don't get some good old Memphis barbecue, you're out of your mind. So you gotta get the eats. And then of course, Beale Street is also in Memphis.
What's that?
Not to be, it's sort of Memphis. It's sort of the French Quarter of the South, if you will. So you know how New Orleans has the French Quarter and downtown. Wait, am I getting my cities mixed up? Let's see, Bourbon Street is in New Orleans. Beale Street, I am right, is in Memphis. And so Beale Street would be sort of the equivalent to, New Orleans is, Bourbon Street. So, kind of nightlife happening, lights buzzing, lots of music. One of the things I remember someone bragging about, and this is now coming 3 hours back to Nashville, is there's a strip down in Nashville called Broadway, which is where, your nightlife is, those of you that like to, dance and listen to, you can walk in and out of clubs. One of the things I used to drive Lyft here. So one of the things that the passenger was saying was in Miami, you would have to pay a la carte to go in each one of these different locations. But in Nashville, he was surprised that, you just kind of go down on Broad Street. It's free and open. And he was surprised at how he could go from bar to bar, So in one bar, you got so if you go to Jason Aldean, who's the famous, country music scene, you go to his place, he's got different floors. I think it's like a 3 or 4 floor deal. And maybe the first floor is country music. Second floor is dance music. Last floor is, reggae or whatever it is. And so that's really the scene. So it's a big melting pot. But down on downtown Broad Street is for those that like the nightlife and to drink and everything, your pedal taverns and that sort of thing. But I was also going to say to my family folks, all my families, I think Tennessee is a great place to camp. We got the Smokies and Gatlinburg, Tennessee, up in that area. They've got great cabin.
How far are you guys from Gatlinburg?
So we're about a 3.5, 4 hour run from Gatlinburg, Tennessee. So you got, Dollywood.
I hear it's beautiful up there.
Oh, the mountains are picturesque. I mean, if you want to come, take that in. So if you go to East Tennessee, so Chattanooga, out that area, you've got a range of mountains as well. I've been to those mountains. I've taken tours. Then we're about 3 hours from, so within about a 3 to 4 hour run, you can get anywhere here in Tennessee. So you got Louisville, which is about a 3 hour run from us, Chattanooga, which is about a 3 hour run from us, Bowling Green, Kentucky, which is in the other opposite direction, is probably about an hour and a half if you drive the speed limit. But yeah, the mountains are just beautiful. We've got some beautiful greenery here in Tennessee, some amazing greenery that you and your family and loved ones to partake in. But then, yeah, like I said, Nashville was a $7 billion tourism economy. And then right up the road, Clarksville, Montgomery County is us. We are and it may have changed since the last census, but at one point we were the third largest city here in Montgomery County. And so, yeah, so we're growing, population of 200,000 plus, so manageable. And also, if I didn't mention, in Nashville, it's home of the Nashville Predators, which is our hockey team, as well as the baseball, Nashville Sounds. And so you got the Predators, the Sounds, and the Titans that are our major sports teams. And then Bridgestone Arena is our big arena that hosts anything from stand-up comedy to Bruno Mars concerts. I think Tyler Perry sold it out at one point. So there's a ton to do for the family there. I think they've had things like Elmo on Ice. There's also at Nissan Stadium, I've seen the the what do you call it? The monster truck rally. Yeah, dirt
cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. And then country music fans, man, the good old Grand Ole Opry is in Nashville. And I've had clients come from as far as Europe to say, Vondell, I'm coming to Nashville. I was like, what's in Nashville? They're like, country music. We don't get it in Europe. It's bad, terrible European accent. But yeah, people love coming to Nashville because you've got the Ryman Auditorium in Nashville, so there's two historic pieces of Nashville. Well, there's tons of history, but by way of history, there is the Ryman Auditorium, which is the old country music venue. So the Ryman, and Brian, they tell me the acoustics there is just amazing. It's a small, intimate space. And I hear the acoustics are amazing. I had a sound guy one night again, just in the car, and he was like, man, Wu-Tang Clan's coming to the Ryman. He's like, man, if you've never been, he's like, the acoustics in there are just amazing. And so that was the old Grand Ole Opry. That's what I was trying to remember earlier. And then the Grand Ole Opry New is out near the Opryland, Opry Mills and Opryland Hotel. It's a great big hotel. They do if you want to come during the holidays, that's a great time because they turn the hotel into like an ice skating section. They have a tour of lights. It's beautiful to behold. It's like a spectacle during that season. It can get pretty crowded. So bring your patience and your comfy shoes. And then, of course, you have a number of museums. So I think there's a country music museum out there. The Johnny Cash Country Music Museum is a great place to stop in. I haven't gone yet, but just below that is a great restaurant called House of Cards where they do a magic show, which is one of its kind here in Tennessee. And then also downtown, there is a symphony, the Nashville Symphony, home of the Nashville Symphony. We have a Performing Arts Center, TPAC, Tennessee Performing Arts Center. So there's lots of shows, anything from Lion King to, avant-garde type stuff in Shakespeare. And there's a lot of good stand-up. Nashville is home to Zanies. A lot of headliners come there. Coming up in late June, I'm going to see Jay Farrow is coming. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. D.L. Hughes and Chris Rock, all the big names have played there at Zanies, as well as some great up-and-coming local comics. So that's your stand-up comedy and nightlife. And then downtown, this is a fun fact. Nashville, within pre-pandemic, was like one of the number one destination or I guess domestic locations for weddings, believe it or not. Wedding planners I spoke to, and they told me that if the groom and bride indicated Nashville as a spot, they said they saw a 65% increase in acceptance rate, being that the wedding was in Nashville because people want to come view it. So
that's cool. Yeah, so you said it's about an hour drive to Nashville?
Yeah, it's about an hour drive. Okay. So you can catch a flight, which is also where our airport happens to be, B&A International Airport. It's our only airport here in the region. Clarksville does have a municipal airport, but it's mainly for private chartered flights. You can get in and out of here, and some of the CEOs and business people use it, and it's a beautiful location, beautiful airport. I had a number of events out there. It's a venue as well for events. My leadership Clarksville class met there, but that's our hub. That's where we go, and they're expanding it. So just to give you an idea of the uptick in tourism, they're now expanding our airport. But up till the expansion, it was a one
like one
spot.
terminal kind of thing.
Yeah, one terminal, one location kind of deal. And now it's growing just because of the sheer number of tourists that frequent Nashville a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious with like housing costs. So like cost of living. So there's a reason people are moving to Clarksville.
Absolutely.
So what's like the, if your people are looking to buy just a average size house, and then kind of like the different tiers, like smaller house to like, as big as you kind of want to go.
I'm just going to read from my phone because I pulled some stats up just for me to have them.
Perfect.
And so this is all of Montgomery County, not just Clarksville, but Montgomery County, which is the big seat here. So just to give you an idea, this is real near. So April 2022 is how early we're talking. 647 residential real estate deals closed compared to 529 in the same month of a year prior. Average square footage was up slightly at, about 1980. So 1,981 square feet compared to, 100 square feet less in the year prior. So almost 2,000 square feet. Let's see. And the median sale price is about $335,000. So that is up. It was about 260, hovering at about 260, 270 in 2021. But this year, home prices are up. So you get some good equity. So now's the time to come here, whether you're an investor, or whether you want to come here, buy and hold, or you want to come here and become a landlord. It's a great community just because of the transient nature of our community. A lot of military folks in and out here. For those of you who are not in the military, I hope I get this right. When you PCS is when you get orders from the military to relocate. So between people having to relocate in and out of here, that's how I hear of a lot of people saying they come here to Clarksville. Either, like this morning, I took a Lyft after I dropped my car off at the shop, and my Lyft driver said she was from New Orleans, and she said she moved here with family. She'd heard about Clarksville through family, which is how most people either have a loved one in the military, they lived here as a child, or as a military spouse perhaps, or a dependent of the military, and then they come back. So this is a place where people come back to. I hear people all the time say, man, I lived here in the 80s or 70s, or I grew up there, went elsewhere, but then they find their way back to Clarksville, oftentimes outside of the military. I got a good pastor friend of mine who he and his wife are currently in Tampa or Florida, that area. But he said, Vondell, I want you to be my realtor. We're going to move back real soon. We just can't beat the home prices in Clarksville. And so to Clarksvillians, $335,000, which is current home median price, is expensive. But to outsiders, they're like, oh my God. And you're talking a beautiful home at that price. Just to give you another context, a new subdivision here called Farmington subdivision, 5-bedroom homes, beautiful. I just did an open house there.
It's a big house.
Yeah. 5-bedroom, big house, 4 or 5 bathrooms. That was still under, for this area, you're talking $400,000, $475,000 home. But it's already appraised at like over $500,000. So it's got equity in the community, a lot of the homes. I believe some homeowners I happened to stop by, I had showed a home to. I stopped by, they were moved in, they loved it, and they were like, Vondell, we're up on our home budget so far. So they were excited. Yeah. So, and we're talking that $335,000 home sits on the market for an average of 17 days. That's it, from list to closing, compared to 13 days for the same period. And that's all just, the market, obviously we're in a seller's market right now. And let's see, the first 4 months of this year, so the first quarter, Clarksville MLS was 2,300 homes compared to just 1,900 last year for the same period. And square footage is about identical. And let's see, the current 4-month average is about 317,000 on a home. And let's see, here's the last thing I want to show you. So right now, this last fact, as of May 6th of this year, about a month ago today, there were 369 active residential real estate listings in our MLS, reflecting an average of 2,100 square feet, so almost 2,150 square feet, just under that at 2,146, and an average list price of about $407,000. And the average time on the market was 26 days. So people are getting things sold and purchased within a 30-month, under that 30-month window. So yeah, and we're building rooftops. I happen to sit on city council, and so there's a ton of new zoning cases. And so with that, it's bringing industry in left and right. So it's an exciting time to visit and relocate here to Clarksville.
Excellent. Yes. Okay. I love it. Okay. And you're on city council. So I'm like, give us the inside, the deets, man. Like what's like,
Well, I was about to say, yeah. So you guys, so see, when you work with me, if you choose to work with me, I love to earn people's business. You get a
Yeah.
twofer. We call it out the
Yeah.
South twofer.
Yeah.
So yeah, city council. So it's great. So I'm on my third year of my first 4-year term.
Hmm.
So I may not be city councilman by the time this video, if you watch this video, after December 2022, just kind of putting some time slots on there, but I'd still love to help you.
Yeah.
So we're 12 wards, and we're a bi-county government here. We have the county government. So there's the mayor, Jim Dewart, who's currently in office. He's finishing up his term and he's going to retire after this. But Mayor Jim Dewart is on the county side, and up under Mayor Dewart is housed our Clarksville Montgomery County School System, so CMCSS, and they have their own sheriff and they have their own police and EMTs. But mainly the county is run on that side of things, our roads and that sort of thing. And that's where the majority of our budget comes from the state down to Montgomery County. And governing with Mayor Dewart, he has a governing body of county commissioners, and it's 22 of those leaders who serve with him. Then we have the city side, which is Mayor Joe Pitts, and this is his first term. He's finishing up, and he's a true visionary. And so I have the pleasure, along with 11 other council members, so there's 12 of us. So there's 22 county seats, and there's 12 city wards. And so they're county commissioners, and we're city council members. So I'm one of 12, and Ward 2, which is the older northern side of Clarksville, is where I have the pleasure of serving constituents on a day-to-day basis. And so my whole thing is, putting on my political hat is, move to Clarksville, Tennessee, voted #1 by Money Magazine in 2019, where every ward wins.
People are moving to the area.
Absolutely.
And there's a reason why. Like, it's like maybe just a combination of things, but let's dive into the schools a little bit. So like,
sure. We have an amazing school system. Unfortunately, about a year and a half ago, we lost, not as in, he passed, but he, took a position somewhere else. There was it's in the papers. There was this big to-do. One of our former superintendent had moved here from a different region, and he turned the school system around, and it became a top tier school, and he'd taken a pay cut. And so again, I believe some people who didn't understand, his role were trying to put him and his salary on par with, teachers, and teachers are very, very important. They're our #1 asset when it comes to our young people and young leaders. However, the CEO of all those leaders is to be taken care of as well. And so, the board finally decided to give him a pay raise, and some people just didn't like it. And so anyway, he took his talents elsewhere. And I just read in the paper, the region he went to, he just gave all those teachers raises. And so it's like, man, he would have given probably all of the teachers here who are on the front line every day that same raise, but he navigated the whole COVID scene. And so just thank you to him and his former brand of leadership. And we are open to bring in someone new at the helm. And right now in the interim is a good friend of mine, Dr. Angela Huff, is leading the charge. African-American woman, for those that it matters to. I believe representation matters, but she's leading the charge as our interim school superintendent, and she's doing amazing. So our school system is broken down to the normal structure of, the different districts, but we also have, I believe it's 7 schools, don't quote me, it might be 13, but there's, I think, 7 schools and what we call our Clarksville Academy system. Not to be confused with Clarksville Academy, which is the name of a private institution here. But we have, like, for example, Clarksville High is like our business academy. I think West Creek is our criminal justice academy. Northwest High School, which is in my ward, happens to be our doctoral academy.
So these are like schools that focus on specific kind of things.
Absolutely.
High schools.
High schools that are vocationally focused. So there's the regular high schools that kids go to, but then a parent can opt to enroll their young person for acceptance in one of the academies, and that student will focus exclusively on, subject matter subjects and things, and a college track affiliated with that. There's a STEM academy. There's a theater arts and drama academy. So it's really cool. I wish they would have had that when I was a kid.
No, that's fantastic, because I mean, college isn't for everyone, and some of the we need great vocational workers who are skilled labor. Like
absolutely. And one of the things that I love about our school system, and it's very supported. And then we have our private schools that I mentioned in Christian schools. But one of the things that I love about Clarksville is our Economic Development Council and our Industrial Development Board, our tourism. We have a really hardworking, creative team here locally. Kudos to those ladies and gentlemen there, but they make sure we stay competitive. And so Clarksville is on the rise in terms of the job market. I know we're talking to schools, but they kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
The largest workforce here, I believe, in Clarksville, Montgomery County is CMCSS. So that's the largest employer of talent here in the city. But right up there with them, here's a fun fact. Clarksville boasts, I think it's the 15th data center for Google. I want to say 15, but I feel like the number may be less. But we're home to Google. Google decided to move here. There was a big project by Lockheed Martin that went under, or they just pulled out. I shouldn't say it went under. They pulled out of the deal, and a portion of the property that was under development, and as part of that project, Google came in and took and said, hey, we want to build our 15th data center. I mean, it's Google. They can go anywhere on the planet. So the fact that Google decided to build a headquarters here, a data center here in Clarksville, Tennessee, is huge.
Yeah.
So that's a unique aspect to Clarksville, Montgomery County that we're proud of, as well as some other industries. So we have a large Korean American constituency here because we have Hankook Tires, which is a rival or a competitor to Bridgestone Tires, which is headquartered in Nashville. We have a headquarters or a factory here in Clarksville, Tennessee, right off exit 8, as well as an LG factory. So we have LG, the technology company is here. They manufacture primarily the washing machines and dryers here, but I believe they're going to expand that campus and that their footprint here to bring that. And then we have our hospital, which is another big employer, as well as some of our older factories, which is Trane. So the air conditioner manufacturer, I think it's one of the oldest manufacturing plants that is here, as well as Agiro, which is roadside assistance company. So all those factors is what makes sort of, our median working wage. It's on the rise here. So I'm excited about that.
That's great. And the place you said that was the biggest job provider, what was the name of the company?
Clarksville Montgomery County School System.
Yeah, I big fan of education. So I think.
Oh yeah, and then Austin P State University. I mean, man, governors, go Govs. Can't forget those guys. Yeah, and then the military. So outside of the ones that I mentioned, I would say, I guess, that would trump all of that would be the military. Nobody trumps Uncle Sam in terms of employment.
Yes, good old America and the military. 100%. We definitely believe in that. Kind of wrapping things up. If someone's thinking about moving to the area, what are some things they should expect, or that you would want them to kind of like see or to visit and things like that?
Yeah. So if you move in here to Clarksville, I think what you should expect that, during this time is one of the things I often say is there's a video, campsite.bio. If you go there, there's a video I shot. I did a video speaking from similar perspective to News 2 in Nashville. A good friend of mine came down and we shot a video. So there's more nerdy data about the market. It's obviously changed because it's been a few months, but you'll get the gist of it. But I think one of the things that I shared there, that's why I brought it up, is that Clarksville is going through our puberty stages. We're like a teenager going through puberty, coming into our adulthood. So right now, the mayor, city council signed off on I think it's a 20, don't quote me again, I don't have my numbers in front of me, but a pretty comprehensive traffic plan. It's called the Traffic 2020 plan. We needed some infrastructure. So we, fortunately, we had to raise the taxes by 20 cents, and they thought it was a big deal here, which it can be significant. I don't want to diminish it. In the city council, we fought hard to try to get that down to 15 cent, 10 cent, 11 cent, but it did happen to be 10 to 20 cents. But we haven't raised taxes. This is a fun fact. Clarksville, Montgomery County has not, prior to this term, to get that project done, which is a three-tier project, we hadn't raised taxes in like 11 years. So we kicked that can down the street as far as we could. But because of the way we're growing in numbers, we're growing, swelling so much that we just redrew this last census. We redrew our voting map for the county and city. So that's great. So in each of these wards, there's probably about 11 to 12,000 people that live, in each of our 12 wards. So what to expect is, growing pains. It's a good thing. I say it at every city council meeting. Sometimes, when we went through adolescence, our voices change for the men. The ladies, puberty could be a beautiful, ugly thing. You got pimples everywhere, your skin's changing, oily skin, dry skin, your hair is doing kind of funny things. Your hormone levels are up and down with testosterone and all that stuff. So, we're growing. Our shoes are now too small. You bust out the shoes, your clothes look funny. You got high water pants. And so that's pretty much as a metaphor of what Clarksville is like. So if you move here, expect to see, rooftops being built, which I think is going to attract even more restaurants and opportunity for businesses to come and thrive. Our entrepreneur community is growing and thriving. We have our ecosystem here for small business owners. It's just amazing. It's great. There's about 900 or so active real estate agents. And so there's plenty of people to serve you and meeting your homeowner needs. I'm number one.
Yes. Yes. Hit up Vondell for more info.
Yeah. Hit me up at vondellrealtor.com to check out any of my listings. It's just I think it's an amazingly exciting time to consider and look at Clarksville and come lock in a home here.
Yeah. It sounds like if you're moving to the area, you're going to be growing with the city.
Absolutely. Great word. Yeah. Growing.
Yeah.
And I couldn't have said it even better. A number of restaurants here in the downtown area that are amazing. And so you just, be prepared for growth. And it's exciting. Of course, not everyone likes it. I think we were joking before, we might've been on about people saying, build it over there. Yeah. But it's an exciting time. A lot of attention from that 2019 accolade in Money Magazine. So yeah.
All right. I love it. I'm all for it. I'm like, I want to visit now. One day when I go to Nashville eventually, you can visit like really easily kind of a thing. So
and we have museums here. So another thing I meant to say, so in Nashville, we just built a huge African-American music museum. So it's the Museum of African-American History and Culture. It's amazing. They have like these very interactive displays. You can go listen to music, make music for the kids. There's a booth where you can get in and rap a little bit. And then you gotta tour East Nashville. And 12 South is an area called 12 South is where your shops are. A lot of restaurants, a lot of nightlife. Justin Timberlake, he has a new restaurant out there.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
He's got a new restaurant up in Nashville. Acme Feed is a factory, all these places. Impact, that's being built here. It's going to be called the F&M Arena, I believe. So there's ice skating here downtown locally in Clarksville. We've also have a place called City Forum, which is a big go-kart, kind of mini putt-putt, internal mini putt-putt golfing / laser tag place so the kids can go and bowl and have fun. And then there's amazing food. If you're into golf, there's golf here. We have some amazing greenways here, as well as camping and hunting. So it's a little bit of everything for everybody. And I happen to sit on the museum board. We have guided civil rights tour. So Fort Defiance is sort of a presence of African-American soldiers, the African-American soldier presence during the war. That's a national tour or a tour that they do here as well. And here's another fun fact. Wilma Rudolph, the Olympic runner, I think she was a 5 or 6 time Olympic gold medalist. This is her home, Wilma Rudolph.
Okay. A lot of history. There's like a lot of history.
Here. Yeah, absolutely.
That's great. Oh, it's fantastic. I'm all for the history. Yeah, because California is a little newer, so history isn't as defined. Not like some places like on the East Coast and or in the South and stuff. So what's the best place for people to reach out to you on like a social media channel? Yeah.
So if you want to catch me in social media, campsite.bio / my first name. That'll bring up a page that has all of my social media connects, from my real estate page to my city council page. And then you can also leave me messages there as well. So that's a great place. LinkedIn, all that stuff is connected there at the campsite link. Yeah. So if you want to text or call me, if you have a real estate need, I'd love to be able to earn your business, to help you be able to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. It's going to be 931-213-7600. And if you happen to be a first-time home buyer, I have a special event coming up on June 25th that you can plug into. I'm going to be here. And if you're looking for me, you can find me online, but I'm also with Concord Realty. We're one of 3 minority-owned brokerages here in Clarksville, Tennessee.
That's awesome. I love that. That's fantastic. Great. Okay, cool. Vondell, thank you so much for being on the channel and sharing all these golden nuggets with us.
Thank you.